because the thread is pulling tighter now, almost ready to close the space between them. They are circling each other, within reach, within breath, and still, they don't know what's coming. But something inside them does. It was raining. Now a storm. Just that kind of slow, steady rain that makes the world quieter. The kind of night where everything feels suspended. She missed her usual train. Forgot why. Spilled coffee, maybe. Dropped her keys. Just enough to shift the timeline. She sighed, sat on a bench inside the terminal, and pulled her coat tighter. The train was late. She did mind. There was a calm in her chest. A strange stillness. Like she was right where she was meant to be. He had planned to take the train at all. Usually walk. But the rain came fast. And the bookstore stayed open too late. And for some reason, he did call a cab. He just bought a ticket. Without thinking. He didn't even realize where he was going. Only that it felt like he was being pulled. He stepped onto the platform. Saw a long line of benches. Mostly empty. But one seat was taken. Just one. Next to her. He hesitated. His heart did something strange in his chest. As if it remembered. Before his eyes could. He sat down. It looked. Not yet. But he felt it. That magnetic itch. That silence that was uncomfortable. But it was something ancient. She did move. Didn't glance up. But her body noticed. It leaned just slightly toward him. As if it knew. This is where I belong. Minutes passed. They said nothing. But the rain slowed. The lights flickered. And in that brief blink of darkness, they both turned. At the same time. And their eyes met. Not with recognition. Not fully. But with a pause. A breath. A moment that said, I've seen you before. Maybe not in this life. But I have felt this moment before. And she smiled. Just a little. And he smiled back. Without knowing why. And that was enough. For now. The train arrived. They stepped on. Sat apart. No words exchanged. No names spoken. But something inside both of them was awake now. Some door had opened. And neither of them would ever be the same again. Shall we now bring them into the next crossing? Where the signs begin. Where memories start to bleed into dreams. And strangers feel too familiar. Or shall we let them meet again? By chance. And this time speak. Because the story has shifted. The air is charged now. Every glance. Every breath. Every moment. Comes with recognition. They don't know what they're walking toward. But their souls do. And love is patient. Love will wait. But not forever. At night. They both dreamed the same dream. They wouldn't know that until later. But it happened. In a dream. They were not in this world. Not in this city. Not in the skin. They were standing in a field. Beneath a violet sky. Hands almost touching. Wind in her hair. Light in his eyes. No one spoke. But both of them felt. Something important. Had just been lost. Or maybe. Just found. And when she turned to leave. He whispered only two words. Behind me. She woke up with tears on her cheeks. Not sobbing. Not afraid. Just open. Her chest hurt. Like something had been torn out. And replaced with longing. She stood at the window. Watched the city still asleep. And whispered into the glass. I will. He woke in the middle of the night. Sat up. Covered in sweat. A calm. He did remember the dream. Not clearly. Only her face. Only the feeling. a sense that something rare had come close, and then slipped away again. And he said aloud, to no one in the room, "Where are you?" And the silence answered him, softly, through the wind outside his window. Not a voice, not a sign, just a knowing, closer than you think. Now the world begins to shift. They start seeing things, synchronicities, familiar phrases from strangers, songs they've never heard but somehow know, books falling open to the right page, time slowing when they walk past each other again, in places neither of them planned to be. Their timelines are bleeding together. Reality is no longer in charge. The thread is tightening. Shall we bring them to their next meeting? One that finally breaks the silence. Shall one of them speak, finally, and say the one thing that starts everything? Or do you want to follow their inner worlds more? Their memories, their confusion, their growing age, as something ancient begins to awaken, because the moment is coming. That quiet breaking point where everything shifts. A place where two souls can no longer pretend they're strangers. It was a small park, hidden between streets, nobody cared to notice. Trees bending low. A single bench worn smooth by time. She was sitting there, watching the late afternoon sun flicker through leaves, trying to write, but the words tangled up inside her. He appeared at the edge of the park, as if call. The first time he saw her, she did see him. She was standing in the middle of a crowded train station, lost in her own world, scrolling through her phone with a tired expression. The kind of look people wear when they've stopped expecting anything new. But still, something in her made him stop. It was beauty. It was drama. It was something quieter. Like familiarity. Like déjà vu without reason. She looked like a moment he had forgotten to live. And for just a second, the world around him blurred. Conversations faded. Footsteps softened. Everything pulled back. Except for her. He did speak. He'd walk over. He'd even smile. He just watched. As her train arrived. And she stepped on. Without ever seeing him. At that second changed something. He felt it in his chest. A subtle shift. As if some part of him had been waiting for her. Without knowing he was waiting. At night, he dreamed of her. Not her face. Not her name. But the feeling. In the dream, they were sitting in silence. On a rooftop. Watching a city fall asleep. She wasn't smiling. She was simply there. Like a presence he had been missing since before he was born. And she turned to him in the dream. No fear. No question. And said, "You're late." He woke up gasping. Hand on his chest. Like something inside him had remembered. And all day. Every noise, every color, every moment. Felt slightly out of place. Like he was walking through a world that had just started to shift. Like she was near. Would you like to meet her now? To hear her sigh what she felt in that moment. And how love was already moving through her life like a thread being pulled. Or shall we stay with him? As he begins to search for something he cannot explain. Only feel. Because that moment in the train station. It did pass unnoticed. Not really. She did see him. But something in her felt him. She couldn't explain it. But when she stepped onto the train, something tightened in her chest. Not pain. Not anxiety. Just a pull. Like a thread had caught somewhere behind her. And for a brief second, she thought, did I forget something? She looked back through the doors before they closed. Saw no one she recognized. Just strangers. Everyone looking down. Everyone passing through. But her heart did calm. It knew. Before her mind could understand. Before her memory could catch up. Some part of her was whispering, turn around. But she didn't. Because we don't chase feelings we can't explain.